Welcome to Millennial 646. I'm Andrew.
I'm Laura.
And I'm Pamela.
Penultimate episode of the year. I love that word, penultimate. Penultimate. Second to last.
Such a milestone.
Really
Especially this year.
I know, exactly. It's like, whoa, we fucking made it, y'all. Almost.
Zoom is saying, set up professional audio in audio settings. What is
Excuse
this?
me? What is
does
Zoom
that
trying
mean,
to say?
Zoom?
Are we already professional audio?
It's here in my mix, and it's like, this is shit. Anybody do any murdering this weekend?
So I saw this note and I was concerned because I was like, I don't know what you're referring to.
Okay, well,
I get it now.
I just feel like Taylor Swift's new album, Evermore, the follow-up to Folklore, is going to inspire a lot of people to do some killing because there's a really good song on it called No Body, No Crime, and basically talking about murdering an ex. Am I right, Pam?
Yeah, she got sweet, sweet revenge.
On who? Do you think it's about somebody?
But it starts off, I don't know like who it's about, but it's I think it starts off she's seeking justice for her friend.
Uh-huh. But then she admits to the crime by the end, doesn't she?
Because she frames the mistress of this man.
Yeah. Gave me some big think before he cheats vibes.
Yeah, exactly. Taylor's grand return to country, and she's never sounded better. So
yeah. What do you think of Evermore, Pam? I went into it with a low bar because I didn't think it would beat Folklore, but I actually think it may have.
I think it's a really good companion album to Folklore. I understand why she put it out there, but overall, I think the songs all work really well together. I was a little bit surprised by a few of the tracks because I think Folklore is a much more cohesive listening experience. But with Evermore, you know, she put a little bit more country in there, like with No Body, No Crime, and then she did this kind of cool thing with that track Gold Rush, which is a lot more upbeat than anything on Folklore or Evermore.
Yeah.
And then she has a few tracks towards the end that really kind of gave me like some Postal Service indie electropop type vibes. So I thought it was an interesting mix, but I enjoyed it overall.
I guess Taylor should have been on our 2020 t-shirt because she ended up being a very large part of 2020 with two albums in the same year.
Yeah.
I also am a little bit ashamed right now because when we recorded our breaking news in which we touched on the Evermore release, I was like, oh yeah, I still haven't listened to Folklore, but I'll do it soon. And I didn't. So I'm going to make a promise to everyone. I'm going to listen to Folklore and Evermore before next week's show.
Oh,
I'm going to do it.
Wow, this is big.
I know.
Squeezing in one more resolution before the year is
That's
out.
right.
I'm going to start listening to Taylor Swift.
Because I'm
No
sure as
pressure.
shit.
If you don't like it, it's okay.
Yeah, well, I'm sure as shit not making any 2021 resolutions. So this is it.
I know what did it. I started talking about the murder song. Laura was like, I love murder. I'm in.
I do. I'm really obsessed with murder. So Taylor Swift is like really appealing to the murder demographic.
So during that same breaking news that we recorded for Bay patrons, we spoke about Disney Investor Day, or at least half of it. It was a 4-hour event, and they previewed what was coming up in 2021 through like 2023. And we didn't get to talk about much of it because we had to record during it. So sorry that we didn't get it all in during that breaking news special. But since they did announce so much, I thought we could touch on it again just to briefly talk about here at the top of the show, the announcements that shook us most. And then at the end of today's episode, we're going to have on Laura's Bay, Mark, to talk about the Marvel titles. What blew me away during this Disney event was this announcement about Lightyear, the Buzz Lightyear movie. First of all, Chris Evans is going to voice Buzz Lightyear, which was huge surprise. I saw a good tweet that Chris Evans pushed Tim Allen off the roof, and then he became Buzz Lightyear. Get it? Santa Claus joke.
That's amazing.
But it's going to follow the real Buzz Lightyear, so to speak. The Buzz Lightyear that the toy was based on, and we don't know much else besides that.
I'm looking forward to Loki, which is on the list of the various Marvel titles that we're going to be getting over the next couple of years. This really shouldn't come as any surprise. I love villains and I love Loki. He's just like so deliciously evil, but he has some sort of moral compass, which makes him a really fun character. And I'm so excited to see how they explain what happened to him in the last Avengers movie. So really looking forward to that. And I don't want to say too much about this because, as Andrew said, Mark's going to be coming on a little later in the show to talk a little bit about the multiverse and things like that.
I'm kind of interested in some of these Disney animation announcements that were made, specifically the Moana and Princess Tiana animated series, which obviously is like for a much younger demographic, but I just think it's really cool that they're going to let those two characters spearhead their own titles, and I'm just really curious to see how that goes. They did a Tangled animated series, and I thought that the first few episodes that I watched were really cute. So I think that's really great that they're going to do that. And obviously, you know, it's always good to get a little bit more diversity in there in the lineup. So that's really nice.
Lots to look forward to on Disney Plus. They have so much in the pipeline. It's really incredible. Time announced their Person of the Year, and actually we were talking about this with some of our listeners when we were doing a Bay Hangout a couple days ago. Actually, one of our listeners, it may have been you, Justin, I can't remember. Somebody predicted it may have been Harris, because I know Justin, who's listening live right now, also mentioned that they'll probably pick Biden because every election year they pick the incoming president. I was like, I don't think they'll do that this year. I think they need to honor the frontline heroes, as they're called. These people working in hospitals, these people who are delivering our food, these people who are working in the grocery stores, et cetera, et cetera. They didn't. They did honor Biden and Harris. That was kind of the little twist this year. They're honoring them both. I thought the pick was kind of boring because it was so predictable if you look at their decisions that they've made in the past.
Yeah, I mean, it was predictable in a way, but I thought it was really interesting that they chose to feature both of them. And that really kind of jives with the idea that the Biden administration, at least their intention, what they've communicated is that it's intended to be a transitional, like passing of the torch type administration to a younger, more progressive demographic. So hopefully this is a reflection of that.
Like I said at the top of the show, next week will be our final episode of the year, and we are going to be doing Secret Santa as we do every year, but there's going to be a little twist. This year, we are going to be gifting each other cameos. We've spoken about cameos on the show from time to time here. I'm fascinated by them. It's fascinating to see what these celebrities charge. Have you guys ordered your cameos yet?
Yep, I already got mine, actually.
No, but I need to do it now because I'm just overthinking it, I'm sure, but I'm a little worried. Like, what if it's not as good as I think it is? You know what I mean? Like, it's, I don't know.
Yeah, well,
You'll
okay,
see.
the reason I ask is because I ordered mine last Wednesday, and the person still has not done it yet.
Oh,
and I'm
no.
so happy with this pick. I did research. I really put some thought into this. And I saw on Cameo that if they don't do it within 7 days, you get your money back. So, like, tomorrow, if they don't get me this cameo, I'm going to have to go find somebody else. And now I'm really bummed because I really like my pick.
Or you're going to have to pull some strings and, you know, see who you know or something.
Please get the word to this person. I need the cameo. Ugh.
I'm really pleased because I ended up booking mine, I think a week ago, like after the episode. And they got back to me within 12 hours, which I was very impressed by that turnaround time. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
Actually, I sent you guys a link to this in Slack the other day. One of the stars of The Office who plays Kevin, Brian Baumgartner, he is going to make $1 million on Cameo this year alone. Holy shit.
I wonder, I don't think he ever made that much money off The Office.
I bet towards the end,
like,
he did, but
in 1 year?
Yeah, I mean, sitting on your couch, shooting these 30-second videos. Yeah, it's crazy how much some celebrities can make. He's the top earning celeb on Cameo.
Did you guys find yourselves judging some people for how much they were charging while you were looking for? Yeah.
Oh,
I did a lot
that's
of
why
that.
I'm fascinated, because these people, you know, it's unbelievable. It's really interesting what they charge. Sometimes it's like, oh, they could get away with charging more. And then other times it's like, what are they thinking?
Well, like Carol Baskin charging $300. I don't know if y'all saw her, but she's charging that much. And then you go and look at her rules and like she won't do any videos about murder or like her husband or anything like that. And it's like, oh, come, that's what the people want, Carol.
Yeah. Carol? What a Karen. Also, just wanted to mention that Pat and I have been baking cookies as we do every holiday. And ladies, I'm going to be sending you each a tin or two in the coming days. So keep an eye out.
Sweet.
I'm so excited.
I know. I'm including a fun game with the tin of cookies, each of you. It's going to be called Avoid the Poisoned Cookie. And I poisoned a cookie in each of your tins, and you have to try to avoid it. So good luck.
Okay, thank you.
Got it.
What I'll do is I'll be sending you a tin of cookies back, and I'm just going to take the cookies you send me and dump them into my tin and send them back to you.
Oh, and I'll fall for it and eat them and then die. You know who I'm going to be using to mail you those cookies? Stamps.com, this week's sponsor. No, seriously, I am, because this holiday season, more people will be mailing stuff than ever before. That means the post office is going to be busy. Stamps.com brings the post office and now UPS shipping right to your computer. Mail and ship anything from the convenience of your home or office. Stamps.com is a must-have for any business or anyone who does a lot of mailing, whether you're a small office sending out invoices, an online seller fulfilling orders during this record-setting holiday season, a giant warehouse sending thousands of packages a day, or just someone who wants to mail some cookies. Stamps.com can handle it all with ease. Simply use your computer to print official U.S. postage 24/7 for any letter, any package, any class of mail, going anywhere you want to send it. Once your mail is ready, just schedule a pickup or drop it off. That's what I do. It's super simple. With Stamps.com, you get 5 cents off every first-class stamp and up to 40% off priority mail and up to 62% off UPS shipping rates. Stamps.com is just a no-brainer, saving you time and money. It's no wonder over 900,000 small businesses already use Stamps.com. Don't spend a minute of your holiday season at the post office this year. Sign up for Stamps.com instead. There is no risk. With our promo code MILL, you get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in MILL. That's Stamps.com. Enter MILL. Stamps.com. Never go to the post office again. What beautiful words.
Agreed. Well, we do have a piece of feedback here from our Bay listener, Kailey, who was actually on with us last week. This is regarding the announcement that Elliot Page made on social media a couple of weeks ago and our acknowledgement of his true authentic self here on the show. And Kailey did a little bit of thinking about this and a little bit of research, and she realized something that's really, really important for all of us to keep in mind when it comes to people coming out or making announcements about their identity. So Kailey says, even though this should have been on my radar already, I recently learned that not everyone should be entitled to the fact that someone is trans for safety reasons. Elliot is different in that he is a celebrity and he decided to come out to the world. In our personal lives, however, not everyone is entitled to information about trans folks. Even though you might be talking to someone who you trust, your trans friend may not feel the same way and might not want that person to know they are trans. Physical assault and intimidation happen far too often to trans folks. Knowingly dead-naming someone who you know goes by a new name is wrong. However, protecting their anonymity to someone who is not entitled to their identity is the one instance where dead-naming is the appropriate thing to do. I just wanted to share this because as a cisgender heterosexual woman, it didn't even occur to me that I could be putting someone in danger by trying to be an ally. That is such a good point. I think sometimes progressives, in our rush to be allies to people, we can inadvertently create situations that are at best very uncomfortable for the people we're trying to be allies to, or at worst, potentially dangerous. So I think this is really great feedback and something for all of us to keep in mind.
Yeah, definitely. And
Thank
I think
you,
the other
Kailey.
thing to keep in mind is that we're all learning.
Yep.
You know, go easy on yourself when you need to. Okay, so since we are at the end of the year here, I thought we could play Google That Shit. End of year edition, because Google released their annual report of the top search terms of the year. You can drill down by country. It's pretty interesting. I'm always interested by this type of stuff. I thought we could go through some categories. I'm not going to quiz you guys on all of it. We can just talk about it. We can just talk about some of these categories. Let's start with definitions. What were people trying to define? And by the way, I use Google to look up definitions all the time.
I would imagine quarantine, because we've had it pointed out to us a lot this year that many people are using the word quarantine incorrectly. Like, just because you're staying at home and social distancing, that's not quarantining.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if that's one of them.
I'm trying to think of like a pop culture, like an internet word that people might have.
You're on the right track.
How about simping?
Oh my God. Simping?
Yeah.
What is that?
That's why people would be Googling.
But I haven't even heard of it all year. Okay.
You're clearly not on the right side of Twitter.
Yeah, it's so funny because Mark asked me not long ago if I knew what the definition of simping was. And it was one of those things where like I could use it in a sentence, but it was really hard to articulate what it means.
Yeah. According to Urban Dictionary, it is when you infatuate over women, allowing them to take over your mind and cause you to do things for them that you wouldn't normally do.
Yeah, but it's also like it's like transcended. I think it started off as only women, but you can simp for anybody. Like,
okay,
yeah,
like you could be like, I simp for Chris Evans because you really like him and you would do anything.
Yeah,
for him,
it's kind of like thirsting a little bit. But you can also be a simp. So like,
right,
Andrew, like if I were to apply this to you, I'd be like, oh, he's a total simp for Springsteen.
Yeah, you're a simp for Bruce.
Okay. All right. I would usually just say like bottom if I'm really into somebody and I would do whatever for them. I say I would bottom for them.
Well, that falls under simping. So
yeah. Okay. So the top searched definition this year was WAP. Wet ass pussy.
Oh, man.
Oh,
I feel like that was so obvious.
These poor souls who had to Google that. And then they were like, oh my gosh.
It reminds me of all the TikToks where kids would be talking about their parents asking them what a WAP was. And they would give them a fake definition for it. And it would like come back to bite them in the ass. Yeah, I saw one where he told his mom it was wings and pizza. And then she went on Facebook allegedly and was like, treating my son to some WAP tonight.
That's amazing. That is amazing. The number 2 most searched for definition was entanglement.
Oh, is that because of Will and Jada?
Maybe.
I think because I think he went on her show and she was like, I got myself into an entanglement with somebody. They were talking about her affair.
I am seeing that in related topics. Wow. The power they have.
I can't believe that I knew that. I'm like shocked.
I didn't even know that.
Good job,
I did not
Laura.
make that connection. What about asymptomatic? Is that on there?
Yes, that is number 5. Good job. Number 3 was antebellum, because Lady Antebellum, people they got rid of antebellum. They changed their name to Lady A after what happened over the summer with George Floyd. Yeah, and then I think a lot of people were like, but what does antebellum even mean?
Would it also be because of the movie that came out with Janelle Monáe?
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
I wonder if it got like a second spike because of that.
Yeah, I do see 2 spikes here, actually. Yeah. And then number 4 was pandemic. Not a surprise. And then 5, as Pam guessed, was asymptomatic. Okay, beauty how-tos. I'll just run through these and we could talk about them. Number 1 was how to cut men's hair at home. A lot of people did that, including me. I did it for Pat. I didn't trust Pat to do it for me, though. Number 2, how to plop hair. I don't know what that means.
It's hair plopping. For if you have curly hair, you should plop your hair because it'll eliminate frizz. That would have been my guess. Yeah. So basically what you do is you actually don't use like a regular towel on your hair and you like scrunch. And then you flip your hair over and you like collect it all at the top of your head. And then you just like wrap it up. And some people sleep in the hair wrap and some people don't. They just like wear it for, 20, 30 minutes or an hour until they're done. So.
Okay.
That's hair plopping.
Number 3, Laura, you are already an expert at this. How to color your hair at home.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'd call myself an expert, but I'm okay.
You're good. We approve.
Thank you. I appreciate
Number 4, I wouldn't call this a beauty how-to. How to wash your hands.
It's health and beauty.
Yeah, that's hygiene.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's more health. And then number 5, how to style curtain bangs.
Yeah, big trend on TikTok. These all make sense.
Mhm.
Hair plopping was also a big trend on TikTok.
Okay, guess this next category. Each of you pick one. How to make ...
Bread.
Yep, I was going to say sourdough bread.
Not in the top 5, believe it or not.
Really?
So I did see sourdough somewhere else.
Masks, like face mask.
Yes, that is number 2 with fabric. And actually number 4, how to make a mask with a bandana. And number 5, how to make a mask without sewing.
Wow.
Number 1 was how to make hand sanitizer because people got really desperate.
Oh my God.
And number 3, again, this is something I don't really know. How to make whipped coffee. What is whipped coffee?
Yeah,
Barista
another
Pam?
TikTok trend.
Oh man, I am so out of the loop.
You're like
Was
Grandma
simping
Sims
all over
right now.
TikTok too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. This is my problem. I need to get into TikTok.
Whipped coffee is it's like I believe it originated in Korea. It's like, I don't know if you've seen pictures. It looks like there's just milk on the bottom, and then it kind of looks like peanut butter at the top. But it's coffee. It's made with instant coffee and sugar, and you whip that until it becomes kind of like whipped cream in texture, and then you float that on top of the milk.
Okay, 3 more recipes. One of you mentioned bread.
Yeah, I was going to say
sourdough
bread.
bread.
We both did.
Gotta be on here.
Sourdough bread is number 1. Number 2 is whipped coffee again. Can you guess one of the 3 remaining ones? I bet you can't.
Is it just like Instant Pot recipes? That's what I Google.
What about like cold brew coffee? I feel like that was big for people.
Like wine recipes, like make your own alcohol or something like that?
No, I have a feeling at least 2 of these were on TikTok. Number 3 was Disney churro.
I don't think I saw that one, but
Okay.
It's so funny.
Maybe I follow too much of Diz Twitter because I've seen talk of that. Number 4 was Dole Whip, another very popular item in Disneyland. And then number 5 was Doubletree Cookie. When you check in at a Doubletree hotel, they serve you a warm cookie, and it is fucking good. So I know why people were searching for that.
They put out their recipe at the beginning of quarantine.
Oh, yes. That's
And
right.
that's probably why.
And you know what? I feel like somebody did, maybe Disney did for Dole Whip and Disney churros as well. So maybe that's why those are there.
There's a lady on TikTok, again with me and the TikTok, but she's been going through all of the alcoholic recipes for the parks. And I don't know her handle, but every time her videos pop up, I watch them like 3 different times because, maybe one day I too will try and drink around the world from the comfort of my own home.
Okay, 2 more. Where is ...
probably Wuhan.
What is it? Wuhan, yeah.
Yeah, where's Wuhan?
No.
No?
Oh. What?
No.
Really?
Pandemic related.
Oh, I was going to say, where is Obama?
Come back. Where are you? Come back.
Where is the
epicenter, like ground zero epicenter
of the virus? Yeah.
No. So number 1 and 2 are where is my stimulus money and where is my refund?
Oh my God, that is so good. No,
people gotta know.
I mean, very apropos given the fact that, if you lost employment this year, you've been given like 50 cents a day to live.
Yeah.
Thanks, government.
The next one is where is Kansas City? And I think it's because it's not in Kansas. It's in neighboring Missouri, which is dumb. So maybe that's the top 3 every year. Number 4 is where is Beirut? And then number 5, also pretty random, where is Shakira from?
Oh, because of the Super Bowl, huh?
Oh, okay. I forgot
it's been a very long year, but that did happen in 2020.
Oh my God, that feels like another life.
I know.
Yeah. Okay, one more. Why ...
Why is the coronavirus spreading?
No.
I don't know. I'm
okay.
plumb out of
It's
ideas.
Okay. Number 1, why were chainsaws invented?
What?
Number 1 search.
You guys okay?
In the United
Over
States.
there, like Googlers. Oh my goodness.
Number 2, why is there a coin shortage? We haven't spoken about that, but yeah, there's been this coin shortage, and I don't know why. I see people's signs up in the stores.
Yeah.
Number 3, why was George Floyd arrested? Number 4, why is Nevada taking so long in terms of calculating the election results? Everybody picked on Nevada. Other states were slow too. I don't get why everybody was picking on Nevada.
I think they just thought that it was going to be faster in Nevada.
Yeah. And then number 5, why is TikTok getting banned? And there was no real answer there.
Yeah, apart from somebody had a temper tantrum.
Exactly. So if you want to see more search trends from the past year, you can go to trends.google.com and check out tons of data. And also, just one more thing I wanted to mention, the term happiness was searched for more than ever before this year. People were seeking out happiness, and they turned to Google for some damn answers.
Google, help make me happy. And Google, directs you to Pornhub.
Oh, God.
Or some really cute meme or something. Okay, it is time for Jomentum 2021/sad failed Trump attempts to steal the election 2020. So following a week of rumors, Bill Barr has decided to leave his post as Attorney General. He said he was leaving to spend more time with his family because that definitely couldn't have waited another month.
Yeah, I just find it hilarious that after everything, he's just he's resigning now when you're literally you're in the lame duck portion of this presidency. You're not really,
right.
They aren't doing anything. So I'm like, what difference does it make?
Meanwhile, the Supreme Court rejected Texas's bid to overturn the election results in 4 states. That was really damning, really embarrassing, and really awesome for those of us on the left.
Yeah. So for anyone who didn't read too much about this, Texas directly approached the Supreme Court trying to sue Georgia, I think Arizona, Pennsylvania, and Nevada. Was Nevada the 4th, Andrew?
Yeah.
Effectively to steal all of our votes and overturn the results in our states because they didn't like it. They got something like 19 other states to sign on and say they approved of what Texas was doing. And the Supreme Court, which is majority conservative and has 3 Trump appointees on it, was like, no. So that was embarrassing. But through this, we also learned that there are 2 new states that have joined the union. So let's welcome New California and New Nevada.
Welcome.
These fuckers actually submitted this statement with New California and New Nevada.
I feel like they've been trying to make this happen for a while, right?
Yeah.
And the statement was riddled with typos and stuff. It was hilarious. There was also big news today on Monday.
Yeah, so on the day that we are recording this episode, the electors, or the Electoral College, as you might hear them referred to, they met today to officially certify the 2020 election results. So,
who won?
Yeah, Biden won the election for the 1,000th time, so that's great.
Yes, excellent news. I saw even some Republicans today are like, yeah, looks like Biden won. They're finally starting to admit it. It took an embarrassing long amount of time, and shame on all of these people, but they're finally starting to admit it because, Rudy hasn't done a very good job of fighting the results.
No, I mean, some of them aren't admitting it yet, though. Somebody released a very cagey statement when they were asked about this. Yeah.
Yeah, I tweeted it.
Yeah, I remember you did. But I mean, just to highlight, yes, this has happened. And yes, this is sort of the last legal path that Trump could have pursued for this. But he's actively staging a coup against the country. And that's something that should terrify all of us because even when Joe Biden is sworn in on January 20th, that's not going to stop Trump and his ilk from trying to delegitimize our democratic process and our democracy. Mm-hmm. And, Trump doesn't just go away on January 20th. There is all this speculation that he's going to hold a counter inaugural rally and all these things. And as long as we, the people and the media, continue giving him oxygen, he's just going to continue living rent free in all of our heads. Yeah. And he's really encouraging people to distrust our process. I mean, I talked about this last week, but here in Georgia, Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue are facing a fight that shouldn't really be a fight. I mean, Georgia is a long time conservative state, and they're in neck and neck races because Trump has encouraged all of the Trump supporters and the QAnon supporters to think it's all rigged, and it's already been decided anyway. So there's some concern that GOP turnout for the runoff is going to be low.
Oops.
I mean, I'm like, whatever. If y'all want to turn this into a self-fulfilling prophecy, you go right on ahead. But
yeah,
it's pretty disturbing. I mean, I disagree wholeheartedly with that entire ideology, but I don't think it's healthy or helpful for any of us if a significant portion of our population thinks that our elections are rigged.
The good news, though, is that this has been challenged like crazy in the courts over the past few weeks, and none of them have found any footing. So, they'll remain in denial, of course. They'll continue to call this a sham election and that it was stolen, but the courts have said otherwise time and time again.
Agree.
But up to close to like 50 court challenges now that have failed.
Yeah, some of these people are dangerous, though. I mean, there were a number of federal and legislative buildings that had to close today, the day that the electors certified the results of the election, because of credible threats that they received. I mean, the FBI was looking into all of this stuff. So it's not even just the erosion of public trust in our public establishments. It's that there is an element of danger about this that's very, or should be very disturbing to all of us.
Yeah.
On a happier note, though, on this same day that the electors certified the results, early voting started in Georgia for our Senate runoff, which I just mentioned. So that's the incumbent Republican senators Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue versus Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock, who are doing far better here than I could have ever imagined. I feel like, I don't know. I wouldn't want to hazard a guess to say what I think is going to happen, but I think that we have as good of a chance of taking these Senate seats as we were ever going to have. Like, if this were 2018, I would say absolutely not. Like, it's not going to happen. We're still going to end up with Republican representation in the U.S. Senate. But this political cycle is so different than anything we've ever seen before. And turnout for this runoff is looking to be really substantial. As of last week, over 1 million people had requested absentee ballots for the runoff in January, which is a lot for a Senate runoff. I mean, those types of, state and local and more, just like state and local elections, they don't get very much fanfare, and the turnout tends to be a lot lower. And to see so much of the turnout be related to absentee ballots thus far is really encouraging, because we know what the trend is with absentee ballots.
Yeah, I really hope that people in your state saw how powerful it can be for everybody to get out and vote, and hopefully they just ride the blue wave from the presidential election and pull through for not just for you, but for like all of us.
That's the
important
thing.
To everybody.
That's the thing. I feel like I can't illustrate enough that this is not just an election for Georgia. This is an election for everyone. I mean, the way that we vote, the way that we swing this one way or the other is representative of the whole country. Or representative for the whole country. It's going to dictate the things that we're able to get done. It's going to dictate how successful of a Biden presidency we're going to get. So I'm nervous, but I'm also, I would say, equally parts optimistic.
All right. And it's time for the Rona Roundup. There's been a bunch of good vaccine news again this week. The first vaccinations have already started in the United States. I think it's the Pfizer vaccine that's been going out, and millions of vaccines are going to be going out every week now, I read earlier today. And I heard that every Friday, the states are going to be finding out how many vaccines they're getting the following week. So it's going to be like, I'm picturing like the Hunger Games, where everybody's sitting around the Zoom call, eagerly anticipating how many vaccines they're getting next week. And then they reveal it, and it's like, okay, what are we doing with them? I already have feelings of FOMO. I think I mentioned this on the Bay Hangout. Like, I saw those pictures of the first people in England getting their vaccinations, and now, as we did that segment last week where we saw how long it would take for us to get the vaccine, I might be waiting till like July or August, hopefully not later than that. And it just sucks.
Yeah, I feel this
It's a long
too.
time.
I'm so ready. Like, jab me, please.
Jab me, daddy.
Like, really, if somebody was like, Merry Christmas, I'm giving you the Pfizer vaccine, I'd be like, it would be the best Christmas
Tears of
present
joy.
ever.
That's actually what's in my cookie tins, a COVID vaccine.
Oh, wow. So now we really do have to eat all of them.
One cookie has a vaccine, the other has poison.
I'm also kind of worried about people starting to get complacent. Because I think that people are starting to feel better. I mean, there is a certain sense of like, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I just know that people are burned out on the pandemic. People were already slipping before the vaccine got announced or before the vaccine got approved. And my fear is just that people are going to be they're going to be like overestimating how quickly they're going to be able to get the vaccine. And then when they don't get it as quickly as they were hoping for, or like the general population's not getting it as quickly as they hope for, I'm afraid we're going to see the continued spread. We have to remember, and I'm sorry to be a Debbie Downer, but the worst estimates were saying that we could lose as many as 300,000 more people during the winter season. So we just have to remember that, yes, this is very good news, but there's a process in place here and it's not going to be short. So it's very important to keep doing all of the pandemic and CDC guidance that we can in the meantime. And honestly, there's some of this stuff, like I personally am going to be totally fine with people continuing to sanitize anytime they like go out of a public space. Like, I think that's a good practice to be in, even outside of the pandemic.
Right.
Maybe even wearing masks during flu season, I think is not a bad thing. So
they're going to be normalized now. In
Yeah.
future years, we're going to see way more people wearing masks.
Yeah.
Like you do
They
over in
should be.
Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking yesterday, I haven't been sick all year. I got sick in like February on my big road trip before COVID really hit the country. And after that, I really haven't had anything. Maybe a minor cold or two, but just nothing serious. Knock on wood, of course. But it's probably because we're not going out, wearing the mask everywhere, washing my hands and disinfecting them, sanitizing them more than ever. These are things I want to keep up post-pandemic.
Agreed.
I mean, the hand sanitizer, absolutely. Every time I get in the car, now, of course, I'm doing it. And I'm going to continue to do that because it's just a good thing to do. All right, so a couple more things to discuss today. But first, a word from one of our favorite sponsors, Honey. So imagine this. You make a list of the gifts that you are going to buy for the holidays, and then someone randomly gives you the money to help buy one of those things. If that sounds good, well, that is what Honey is doing. They're helping pay for $1 million worth of gifts this holiday season. You're probably wondering, is this the same Honey that automatically searches for promo codes online? Because that Honey is amazing. And the answer is yes, absolutely. With Honey, you can also make a list of all the holiday gifts you want from certain stores, and Honey will email you when the price drops on anything on your list. You'll also be told about discount codes as you browse. This is the only advertiser we talk about on the show who will actually put money back in your pocket. Just add Honey to your computer, create a free account, and throw some holiday gifts on your drop list for a chance to win. Honey will randomly select winners and give them the money to help buy something on their list. I put together my list earlier today. I added a Baby Yoda doll, I added a HomePod mini, and a grill for the backyard. Even if I don't win, now that these items are on my drop list, Honey will let me know whenever it sees that the prices of these items have dropped. A couple terms about the giveaway: no purchase necessary. You need a PayPal account to redeem the prize. Only valid in the United States, and the giveaway ends on December 21st, 2020. Get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/MILL. That's joinhoney.com/MILL. We all use this. You have to too. It is such a no-brainer. All right, so Pam, you wanted to talk about reboots and revivals. Why? What spurred this idea?
This idea was brought on by the fact that I was checking my story count on Hypable, and I realized that last week I wrote 3 different news stories about different revivals or reboots, and it's kind of an ongoing thing. Like, this is a trend that's not going away in Hollywood, and I just thought it might be fun to talk about it because we all watch things on TV. We all, consume movies and stuff like that, and this is what we're being fed, essentially, And I just really wanted to have a loose discussion about this. And I wanted to start off by asking if you guys feel fatigued or overwhelmed by the sheer number that we're getting, or if you're like super into this idea on the whole.
I'm very split on this because I understand why the studios do these reboots and revivals, because they know it's going to work. If they introduce original films, original TV shows, it's a lot riskier. And the other thing is that a lot of people turn out for these reboots. You look at the Lion King remake, it made over $1 billion at the box office. And I'm sure some of these other Disney live action reimaginings have made similar amounts. So you can't blame the studios for doing it because people are coming out. That said, it really is a bummer that there haven't been more originals. And it's just an important reminder that when originals come out, and if you hear some good things about them, go support them. Perfect example is Booksmart. That movie did terribly in theaters, but I think it's found its footing online. Thank goodness. It's such a good movie.
It's so good.
It's very good. Even something like Alita Battle Angel, like I have not seen that admittedly, but it was kind of the discourse online about that movie specifically was very interesting. And I think it kind of extends over to Booksmart as well, because people will hem and haw about the fact that there are no more original ideas. There's no more originality in Hollywood. Everybody's doing reboots and revivals. And yet people don't go out to see new stuff, or they'll shit on it before they do get a chance to see it. And that also drives the box office, the court of public opinion. So I think you're so right that if, this is a trend that you don't wish to see continue, then your dollar needs to do the talking for you.
So you just got to pay attention, I guess, on like Rotten Tomatoes for these lesser known films. But at the same time, this is why I'm so split, because like at the same time, if you get to see one movie this weekend, to unwind, to relax, to have a good night out, you don't want to risk it on some random movie, without the brand recognition. That's why I think part of the reason why people lean towards Marvel and these other ones that create a lot of spinoffs, because you're probably going to get something really good.
How do you feel about this, Laura?
It depends, because honestly, there can be really good spinoffs and reboots. And as Pam, you and I both know, there can be really bad ones. I mean, like the Selena
don't get
one.
them started.
We're not going to go off on it, but like it was so bad. And like the more I think about it, the worse it gets type thing. And it's just so disappointing. So it really sours, like it leaves a sour taste in my mouth about any other future projects that might come out of the Quintanilla family, because this was just so shitty. And I think you have to be really careful when you're doing a reboot. Like if you're going to reboot something, you better not fuck it up. Because if something has a passionate enough fan base in order to justify a reboot, if you do it badly, you're going to get destroyed. I mean, the same way the Selena miniseries has been ripped to shreds. I don't think I've seen a single person who liked it.
Yeah. And that's not even like really like a reboot or a revival, but they just did such a bad job. And like the first go around was so much better done. It was just so bad.
I know. It was really bad.
Yeah.
But also like, I think that there can be examples of the other way around, right? So like, I'm a pretty big His Dark Materials fan. Love those books growing up. The movie that came out in the 2000s, like early 2000s with Daniel Craig and Nicole Kidman, I think, like complete garbage. But now they're doing a series on HBO and it's really good. So there can be examples of where something maybe starts out not on the best foot, but then they can actually turn it around.
And I think one reason that has been really good so far is, A, it's HBO and BBC. I think they're a little more flexible in terms of the terms of what the adaptation should look like. But also it's television. So they have more time to adapt and tell the right story. that leads into, Pam, one of your next questions.
Yeah. If there's anything that you would like to see rebooted or revived, I'd be very curious to know what it is and why you think that it would do well, being retold in a 2020 lens.
Yeah. For me, it would be Harry Potter. Honestly,
that's
I
a good
speak
one.
about this on MuggleCast from time to time because I want it rebooted in a TV series. Let the television makers, the producers, have the time that they need to create a really great story that is completely loyal to the source material. Get everything in. Make it run for 20 seasons, which might be hard because the actors are growing up at the same time. But I just think that's ripe for development. And it's been, 10 years since the final movie came out? And while that's not typically too long of a time frame, they've rebooted Spider-Man like 3 times now, right? And there's been other reboots that happened in a lot shorter of a time period. So they could get away with rebooting Harry Potter.
Here's a follow-up question for you because my brother was just asking me this. Would you take an animated series or would you prefer it to be live action?
I would be disappointed. I want it to be live action.
Got
it. I agree. I don't want an animated
it's like
series.
A very adult
like
style
a
of
CGI
animation
type,
No, not that.
like
I was thinking like 2D animation.
Oh, 2D, that'd be interesting. No, he was talking more like, how like for example, The Last of Us as a video game is technically CGI, but it's very hyper realistic.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was his his thought process. He's seen some fan art and he was like, would you like consume this? I was like, you know what? I don't know. That's a good question.
I feel like with Harry Potter, there's such an opportunity to let other people, other creators into that space and be representative of a lot of the people that weren't originally included in the original work. So yeah, I would want to see that. And I feel like live action just is naturally more geared towards that.
They have money, like Netflix, HBO. They have money. Somebody could do it.
Oh, yeah.
I also pulled the audience over in the Facebook group, and I did this very last minute. I was really surprised by how much input we got over there. So if you're looking to continue this discussion past this episode, I would highly recommend going to check that out because a bunch of people are talking about it. So I asked how people felt in a poll. 50 voters said that they were indifferent on reboots and revivals. 25 said that they loved them, and 15 said that they hated them. So, we got
so many people saying indifferent is interesting. Yeah,
I was actually really surprised. And then I was wondering if maybe we feel a little bit more fatigued because we're so aware of just how many are getting greenlit, in terms of like the nature of our job, Andrew, and also Laura by extension, because you also like work pop culture adjacent.
It's really depressing seeing how many reboots and revivals are in the works, especially for these streaming services. Like I saw people in the Discord mentioning the Saved by the Bell reboot, and I think people seem to like it, which is good. But I think we're all just so tired of hearing again and again all of these classic TV shows being revived. It's just so tired. It's every week, every day, like you said, Pam, with all the news articles you're reading about it.
Every once in a while, and I don't know if this happens to you guys too, every once in a while they do one and it just completely goes over my head that it is a reboot or a revival or a remake. Like, for example, One Day at a Time, it took my mom being like, oh yeah, that's a sitcom. That's like a, from back in my day.
Yeah. I had the same conversation with my mom.
Yeah. Or even something like a little bit newer, like I've talked before about how delightful Julie and the Phantoms is over on Netflix. Like that's technically a remake of a Brazilian show. Like Ugly Betty would be along the same veins as that, like technically a reboot, but for an American audience. And so there is definitely room in this space for it to be done well, but it's a gamble either way, I think.
All right. Well, as we move into wrapping the show for today, we thought we could keep on the topic of pop culture and a lot of these Disney announcements that came out in the last few days. But first, we're going to be talking about the Game Awards briefly. And here to do that is Mark. Welcome back, Mark.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Mark. You're rocking Laura's dad's radio setup, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it looks very official. You see, got a little, wrong way. Got, some lights back here. Look at this.
I like
look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, those aren't grow lights or anything.
Yeah.
It looks cozy.
Yeah. So is our place actually getting fixed, or do you think that I'm just
I think you've just been lying the whole time.
Yeah, it's an elaborate ruse.
Yeah.
Laura just really wants to live at her parents' house for the rest of time.
It's a nice place. They're dogs, nice doggos.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the time.
Man, I wish Basil was here. That'd be hilarious.
Oh, no, because he would just snore the whole time. I shit you not, guys. This dog, you can't have him in a space when you're recording because he snores all the time, even when he's awake. So, you'd be in there recording and it'd be like...
Yeah, he snort. He can be, looking you dead in the eyes, wagging his tail and snoring. He's a good boy, though.
Let's talk briefly about the Game Awards, because I know that there was some exciting news that came out of this, particularly for one of our favorites.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Last of Us 2 won Game of the Year, amongst other things.
And the Game Awards, they're like the big kahuna of video game awards. Yeah.
Yes,
Excuse me, I should have provided that primer.
It's okay.
They won Best Game of the Year, Best Direction, Best Narrative. The character Abby, that character, or the actress that played that character, won Best Performance, and her name is Laura Bailey. People know Laura Bailey from other things as well. It also won Best Audio Design. They cleaned up. They cleaned up there a lot.
Yeah.
Which is nice, but the important thing is the fact that there were a lot of indie games in the Game Awards now that were holding their own with big AAA studios, Among Us, which people have obviously heard of. Among Us, they won Best Mobile Game and Best Multiplayer Game. The fact that it won Best Multiplayer Game is pretty big because I'm trying to see, it beat out Animal Crossing.
How dare they?
Call of Duty Warzone, which Call of Duty makes crazy money every year.
Yeah,
it's a staple.
Huge title.
People, Fall Guys, which we all saw that coming because Fall Guys got, yeah.
That was my favorite multiplayer game of the year.
Fall Guys was good. It was good. It's just Among Us just kind of took their audience, kind of.
Yeah, it really stole their thunder. I remember when you were telling me about this, and you said, "Yeah, do you remember Fall Guys?" And I was like, "Oh shit, I really didn't." I had completely forgotten about that game.
Yep. And Valorant, which is they're a big they're made by people who made League of Legends. So of course they have a lot of money too. And it's nice to see that Among Us. And when they accepted their awards, it was just 5 people on a Zoom call. Thanks so much for liking our game. And I'm like, that's great. It's really happy to see smaller studios being in these big categories with those big games and beating them. Hades, which isn't as small as an independent game, but it's still an indie studio. They won Best Action Game. So the genres in video games are very ambiguous. There's action, then action adventure. Action adventure, Last of Us 2 won. Best action, so that'd be Streets of Rage, a game that's just purely action. Hades won. And again, it beat out Doom Eternal, which Doom Eternal, it was great. It's a big studio. Half-Life, Alex, Neo 2, and Streets of Rage 4. So these 2 indie games are making a name for themselves at the big Game Awards, which I think is great because it's kind of showing that people don't really care how big and shiny the studio is anymore. If the game's good, the game's good. If you have fun, you have fun,
I'm sure it also inspires budding video game developers because they might be thinking, well, I can create something, but I'm never going to get the recognition or get the virality that I want unless I join one of these big developers. Exactly. But that's not the case, at least not this year.
Yeah.
And the thing is too, that's just how the industry's going now. If you look at Five Nights at Freddy's, for example, that's a big indie game. People know it, it's a horror game when the animatronics try to get you. But for the PlayStation 5 premiere event, when they were this game is coming out and this game is coming out, when the Miles Morales game was shown for the first time, there was actually a Five Nights at Freddy's trailer for the new Five Nights at Freddy's that's going to be a PlayStation exclusive. So an indie game got some spotlight at the PlayStation 5 premiere event, which is a couple of years ago that would have never happened. That would have been completely absurd to think about that, which is great in my opinion.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you, do you think the pandemic has anything to do with this increase in indie game success?
I mean, to be honest, maybe, because like the people who would sit down and make games are, I mean, I guess it's not like you're going anywhere really, like, but other than that, I think people want that escape more. So I think more people are obviously playing Among Us because it was a pandemic. Like you want to hang out with your friends, but you can't. And like that was the thing to get together with your friends and play.
Yeah, well, we've done that with our friends. We actually have a group of like 8 to 10 people who we have a Discord channel with. And every now and then people will be like, hey, Among Us tonight. And that's how we all get together and get to spend time with each other. Because otherwise, it's like what we can talk on the phone. Like it's 2020. Exactly. Nobody does that.
These games also go viral. I mean, Fall Guys and Among Us went crazy viral. AOC was playing Among Us on a live stream on Instagram a few months ago. And Fall Guys, just everybody was so taken with that game, myself included.
Exactly.
And yeah, people just have more time to play games right now. I mean, I can't imagine how much bigger these games were than they would have been pre-pandemic. There must have been so many more gamers. And like you see Nintendo Switch sales, they've been through the roof this year, thanks in part to Animal Crossing, but more people just are bored at home.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, like, and I feel like I like this for a lot of reasons, obviously, because I'm in game design. I like the fact that independent games are getting a little bit more recognition, but I also like the fact that it's kind of keeping these big AAA games accountable now, because they can't get away with just being like, oh, we're going to make a game and whether it sucks or not, you just gotta hold it. Like that's it. Like if you really excited for a game and it comes out and it sucks, you just gotta hold that L because you don't have a choice. But nowadays it's like a studio can just come along and be like, oh wow, that game sucked, we're gonna make a game that's just like it but better because we're an indie studio. And then who knows, that game could be game of the year next year. So like the stakes are getting higher to where big game studios can't just release money grab games anymore. Like the games have to be like, they have to be a point where they're either fun or they're addictive to where people want to play them, or they're just good games. Like Hades, I played a little bit of Hades and it's a good game. Like it's a well-designed game. And of course, it's Greek mythology. So it's, it's not like they're making up stuff. Like they're being inspired from Greek mythology, but like it's solid. You could tell the team that made that game really, really cares. Like, there was a lot of heart in that game. And like nowadays when you see certain games now and you're like, this was clearly a money grab. This was clearly let's release a game, get as much money as we can, and then just move on. Like they're going to start losing out more and more to these games that are like, yeah, this wasn't really, of course, it's like all you make it about money because you want to make money as a company, of course, but like that's not the end goal. Like they wanted to make a good game first and foremost. And you can tell.
Do you think it helps, like for something like Among Us, that the learning curve is very easy, so it becomes more easily accessible?
Yeah. Fall Guys is dead easy. Simple race.
And that's the thing too. Like if you really think about it, like some of the best games like ever, like in terms of like how they sold critically, all that stuff. Like if you look at Mario, if you put Mario in front of anybody, just regular old Mario, people just know what to do. Like they just know, I need to go to this area, I need to jump over those things are bad. Like all these games that are super complicated, like there's a place for them and people of course like them, but like the easier a game is, the simpler it is to just click, and because that's what solid gameplay is. Like if you look at like Mario Kart, for example, it doesn't matter what walk of life you're from. If you sit a bunch of strangers down into a room and put Mario Kart in front of them, they'll be like, oh cool, Mario Kart. Like I doubt you're gonna hear anybody like, I hate Mario Kart. Like the person's probably a psychopath if they do, but
maybe they just get hit by the blue shell too much,
Yeah,
you're just like, fuck Mario this game.
Kart.
Yeah, but ease of use and simplicity is definitely a big factor in like good game design.
Did you guys buy a PS5, by the way?
No, not yet. We're waiting.
Okay, I'm an idiot. I'm kicking myself. I had one ordered through Target, and then I was like, I don't need it, so I canceled it. This was before it came out, like months in advance. And now I have so much FOMO that I wish I kept that order. But anyway.
I mean, to be honest, like, unless there's not many games that are out for PS5 exclusive anyway. That's it. Now, if Miles Morales was only on PS5s, you bet your ass I would have got a PS5 on launch.
Even the Harry Potter game that comes out next year is going to be on PS4. So like Horizon Zero Dawn, that sequel, PS4. So I'm like, why do I need this?
I'm even playing with the idea of just waiting until they come out with some like special edition. Like I always do that, where it's like I had a Batman PS4 when it came out because I just waited and they came out with a Batman special edition one and I got that. So I'm thinking about just waiting. But anyways, yeah, like what system it on is definitely matters, how easy it is to pick up. And also like because so many people are playing it, people are making memes about this game like crazy. There are people who've never even touched Among Us that know what the game is because of memes. So like like, people just know it. Like
it's just went viral.
I know. And we could go on about this all night because these games are a ton of fun. And I'm not even like, I'm more of a casual gamer, but I have also felt just like this ability to stay connected with people through gaming during this pandemic. And I think that's what has made particularly these indie games very special for a lot of us. But we did also want to make sure to devote some time to Marvel because obviously we've just had a ton of shows dumped on us. We had a ton of titles dumped on us last week. So like Loki, What If, WandaVision, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Marvel, they're kind of getting ahead of the curve by doing a TV show heavy next phase. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, and really, if you think about it, they already had this in the works a while ago. Like we heard about the Loki show. Like even wasn't it before Endgame came out? Because I remember in Endgame I was I remember seeing that part and being like, oh, I guess this is where the Loki show picks up.
Exactly.
So and probably Falcon and Winter Soldier. We heard about a while ago. WandaVision is the first one that's going to be out in January.
Yeah. So these shows, first of all, they look like a ton of fun. Like I've watched a lot of superhero shows, and these shows legit look like movies. Like when I'm seeing these trailers, I'm like, these are movie trailers. Like these look like movie trailers. They don't look like shows. Like WandaVision a little bit because it's playing with that like alternate reality sitcom-y type thing. But like Winter Soldier and Falcon and Loki, like those look like movies. And they
just
have
like Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I mean, Disney is just giving them a free pass. Spend as much money as you need, really, to make them as great as possible so people sign up for this stuff. The other thing about Marvel is that they have a very excellent track record of creating excellent, excellent movies. And they're not going to want to tarnish that image by producing shit for Disney Plus. So they got to make this stuff really good. And I have full faith that every single one of these Marvel TV shows is going to be a must-watch. And that's really exciting because it's not too often you can say that about forthcoming TV shows.
Yeah, and also like you can tell it has the Marvel touch of everything being connected because like in every one of these shows, I'm like, oh, that thing goes to that thing and that goes like, for example, like you see when in the Loki trailer when he's walking in that like with Owen Wilson, which I saw him and I was like, what are you doing here? Like, cool. I mean, I love him, but he popped up and he was like bringing Loki into the jail thing. And it's like, that's like the time police in Marvel. Like that's like the time, like whenever you mess with the timeline and fuck it up and everything, that's who. They're like the Men in Black of time for Marvel. So like apparently they're kind of Loki messes up the timeline and everything, which was a big part of Endgame of like when you mess with the timeline, you make alternate realities, blah, 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 blah. So you see that. Then you see it's the scene where he walks where that judge is there. There's these big three faces that are on a big board behind the lady that's the judge. And that's one of them is either Kang, which is like a big Marvel time villain, or it's the Living Tribunal, which is another big Marvel time reality entity thing. So you can really see them playing with that reality, like this is what happens when you mess with reality type thing.
Yeah. These are also the big bads for the next phase, right? Like Thanos was to
I mean
the Infinity.
In the comics, in the comics, Kang is I would say he's as much of a threat, if not more of a threat, than Thanos, because his whole thing is time travel. It's like a evil Marty McFly. Like, he just goes around. He's like, oh, you were never born now, so bye. There's no Iron Man or something. Or,
Right.
like he that's kind of his game. So whenever there's a really big, time tomfoolery going on, that's usually the bad guy. But like, they can very easily introduce the new villain or villains into this. Like, I know, Doctor Strange's next movie is going to be called The Multiverse of Madness, which is perfect because that's all, like, most of the, besides Winter Soldier and Falcon, I don't know how much that's going to dip into it, but like the What If series has a Watcher as a narrator, which again, they like watch different realities. So like, What If series is basically just a bunch of different realities that you're seeing. What if Peggy Carter was Captain America or Captain Britain, technically?
Such a fun idea. This is animated, and all the actors, and most of them are coming back.
Yeah, the animation looks good too. Like I don't know what kind of animation style it is, but like it looks familiar, but it looks really, really crisp and good. But like I had that. It's like, what if T'Challa got abducted instead of Star-Lord?
Yeah. What if somebody else got Cap's shield? I think that's an episode.
Yeah, like Marvel Zombies, of course, which is a huge Marvel event in the comics. But like, they're playing with reality so much. It's looking like the next phase is going to be heavily like, this is what happens when you fuck with reality. This is all the different branches or whatever, and like them trying to fix it or consolidate it a lot. And to give an example of different realities is Miles, for example. Miles Morales, his entire story was not in the main continuity of the comics. There was another universe called the Ultimate Universe where the writers kind of made that universe to give themselves some creative license. So when they wrote a story for like Iron Man, for example, they wouldn't have to worry about continuity. It would just be, this is a new Iron Man. It's Tony Stark, kinda, but he's a little bit different. This is how his story's different. Right? And Miles was introduced in that universe, and people liked Miles so much that they brought Miles into the regular Marvel universe. So like, that's kind of the same thing of like, who knows what's going to happen now in the movies. Like, they could do anything. Like, they could introduce any kind of character they want and just bring them in. Like, they have the X-Men now, so they can easily just bring the X-Men in. Like, they can easily bring Deadpool and X-Men in, whatever they want, because they've opened up this whole multiverse. They're getting people more and more accustomed to alternate realities. And you saw that in Spider-Man 2. Like, in Spider-Man 2, they were like, oh, there is alternate realities, even though there were some stuff there.
But we also see them setting this up for Spider-Man 3, right? It's gonna be more like Spider-Men. Like, they're getting
what the fuck is going on with that movie?
I'm so
a week or two ago, they were recasting every person from a past Spider-Man movie, even the ones that they rebooted. The earlier versions of Spider-Man.
Oh, I'm so stoked for this. Like, I'm so for it. The only thing I want, this is very selfish, me asking for this, because all the other announcements I've heard so far about this movie is basically making my dreams come true. But I want Willem Dafoe back. Please, God. Please have him back.
Great.
He would. I would love to see him just going full Green Goblin and having like hearing Tom Holland have to deal with that. Oh man, and Bonesaw. I want Bonesaw back. Give me Bonesaw from.
Isn't he dead?
Yeah, he is, but I was hoping for some Hollywood magic, a nod, something.
Yeah, we frequently quote Green Goblin in our household, so he's a fan favorite.
Out am I?
Definitely
thank you for
lot. Yeah, a lot for us to look forward to, and as we get more news on it, or as we start getting this content, we'll definitely have you back on to review it. All right, before we move on to the end of the show, we just wanted to hear a quick word from a sponsor that you and yours will love. Their Love Book, a personalized gift that helps people express feelings that might have been difficult to say out loud. All of us here have had the experience of making a love book for somebody important to us. I made one for Mark to give him on our first anniversary. And it really is such a unique gift. In fact, I did this long before Lovebook was even a sponsor for Millennial. So I was really excited when they got on board the Millennial train. These are so fun because you get to create and customize characters that look like the people you care about. There's also plenty of room to customize the story and templates to share a narrative that's relevant to the person you're giving it to. In the love book I made for Mark, for example, I was able to include lots of scenes and settings that were reflective of our adventures during our first year together, as well as plenty of inside jokes, like my Diet Coke obsession. And while you do have the option to customize each page, Lovebook offers an express option so you can create a book in just a few minutes. But honestly, it's so much fun to make one of these, you'll probably find yourself reminiscing fondly with each page you put together. It's a great gift for everyone you care about, significant others, family members, friends, kiddos, you name it. Visit lovebookonline.com/MILL to receive a special 20% discount only for our listeners. Again, that's lovebookonline.com/MILL.
Let's share some recommendations. I want to recommend the new holiday movie on Hulu. It's a lesbian holiday movie, Happiest Season, starring Kristen Stewart, Mackenzie Davis, Mary Steenburgen, Victor Garber, Allison Brie, Mary Holland, Dan Levy from Schitt's Creek, Aubrey Plaza. I mean, just a great cast. Really good story. Definitely check it out. Like I said, it's on Hulu, and I know every holiday season I'm looking for some good new holiday movies. So if you're looking for a good new one this Christmas, definitely check out Happiest Season.
Well, this isn't new, and I don't think it's going to give anybody Christmas vibes. At least I hope not. So HBO has a documentary series called The Vow, and it's about the NXIVM cult. That certain stars like what's her name? Allison Mack. Mark, that's her name, right?
Smallville.
Yeah. She was part of it. And it's just this really bizarre documentary for those of you who were obsessed with Tiger King and wondering how people live like this. You'll probably enjoy this, but it's also really disturbing. And if you're looking for like holiday cheer, this probably isn't for you. But if you're morbid like I am, then it'll be right up your alley.
I also have a holiday rec. I wanted to recommend Dash and Lily on Netflix, which is super cute. It's a little 9-episode series, and each episode is about a half hour. So you can definitely knock this out in a day or so. It is based off of a book, which was written by Rachel Kahn and David Levithan, who also wrote Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. So if you enjoyed that, it's definitely the same kind of quirky, cutesy rom-com set in New York City. And it's really cute. It's set in Christmas time. So if you're looking for something fun to watch, I would recommend checking that out.
I'm going to recommend to give an indie game a shot. Just find some indie games that, maybe gel with you a little bit and just try giving it a play. I mean, usually indie games aren't a huge commitment because they're typically shorter than AAA games. But yeah, just support your indie game studio so more of them pop up, because the more people that get inspired to make games means the more different gaming experiences we'll have.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening to today's episode. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email millennialshow@gmail.com or use the contact form on millennialshow.com. That's where we also have our confessional, and we will be getting to a couple of confessionals during today's After Dark. You can also follow us on social media. Please do that. We are Millennial Show on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And we would love if you left a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to Millennial. We appreciate the new reviews, and it helps us get discovered by new people. So thank you in advance. Hey, what's coming up in After Dark today besides those confessionals?
So we're actually going to be jumping off one of the confessionals to have a conversation based around the topic that the confessional writer wrote in about. But we're also going to be talking about a story that came out of the New York Post. The New York Post should be like jettisoned into the sun for doing this, but they outed a paramedic who also was an OnlyFans creator and have created a fucking shitstorm for her. So we're going to talk about that story as well.
Okay, so that'll be available at patreon.com/millennial. Thank you so much to everybody who supports us there, or if you support us through supporting our advertisers, or just by listening to the show and being subscribed to the show. We really appreciate your support. It is the Patreon that keeps us going, so we're especially grateful for that. And you can check out tons of benefits like After Dark. You get access to our live stream, so you can hang out with us as we are recording. You get ad-free editions of Millennial. You get to see our planning doc, so you can see what's coming up. We We also do these Bay hangouts, these breaking news recordings, lots of stuff. Oh, and that physical gift every year, including this year's sweet t-shirt. So yeah, lots available at patreon.com/millennial. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I'm Andrew.
I'm Laura.
I'm Pamela.
Mark.
Bye, everybody.